let's take a look now at a review of the critical they say skills that we're looking to demonstrate in our essays. So this is a review of what you studied in lecture number 2. And before you submit paper number 2, please go back and review lecture number 2 on the they say, because they are crucial academic writing skills of paraphrase, summary, quotation, use of in-text MLA formatted citations, and avoiding plagiarism. Okay, so what are some of the keys to the they say? When we're using information from a source, we want to present it. We can do it in 2 main ways. We can start with a signal phrase that names the author. Then we present our paraphrase, summary, or quote. And then we put our page number in parentheses at the end. Or we can use what's called a parenthetical end reference, which means that we start with our paraphrase, summary, or quote first, and then we end with the author's name and page number inside parentheses. So here's an example. Stephen Hawking describes the climate at Oxford while he was studying there as, quote, very anti-work. So we have a signal phrase, Stephen Hawking describes, comes at the beginning of the sentence to name the author, and then we end the sentence in parentheses with the page number because we're using a paginated source. Now, below it is the example of the parenthetical end reference. The climate at Oxford during his studies is described as, quote, very anti-work. So we start with the information that we're drawing from the source, and then we end with parentheses, and then the author's name and page number. So these are examples of our 2 formats. Now, if we have 2 authors of a source, let's say that this source was authored by Hawking and Antonia Silva, then what we would want to do is, in our signal phrase, add both authors' names. Stephen Hawking and Antonia Silva describe the climate at Oxford, and then we would end again with the page number in parentheses. Or, if we're doing the parenthetical end reference format, at the end of our sentence, we would have Hawking and Silva, 33. Okay, for 3 or more authors, we wind up using the et al. And so this is described over here, okay? Because we don't want to have to take up space in the paper naming all 3 authors. So we start with the lead author, Stephen Hawking, then we use et space al period, then we present the information from the source, and we end with our page number in parentheses. Or we can again start off with our quote or summary or paraphrase, and then end with Hawking et al. 33. Okay, so this is the format et al. If the source we're using has more than 2 authors. Now, finally, if there is no author listed, then what we use per MLA is a shortened version of the title, and we will place it in quote marks. So here's an example down here at the bottom. While some suggest that transgender individuals should rely on law enforcement for protection, it's reported that, quote, police often participate in the intimidation themselves rather than providing protection. And so you'll notice then there's the parenthetical end reference. We have, quote, fighting anti-trans violence, quote, page 2. Okay, so here we're using the title of the source because this source has no personal author. Okay, so this is important again to review the they say, review this slide, restudy lecture number 2, and assess how well you're doing the they say in the body paragraphs of your essay for paper number 2. All right, and finally, I want to challenge you all with a task. That is, I'm going to be showing you on the next slide a body paragraph from a paper written by a former student of mine. And the question for you is, how well did the student implement PIE, point, illustrate, and explain? So when you look at this body paragraph, ask yourself these 3 questions. Are you able to find the paragraph's single, precise main point? And if so, where? where in the paragraph is the precise single main point stated. Next, ask yourself if the writer provided a base of support to illustrate the main point. Is the writer using quotes, examples, analogies, personal experiences, or any other means of support to back up the point? And then finally, ask yourself, do you see the writer explaining, framing the fit between the base of support and the main point? Okay. So this is what the paragraph looks like, and it was written about Twitter. And what I'm going to do is open up a space in our Canvas course so that you all can give your feedback about this paragraph to see how well you think it meets the PIE model for a well-written body paragraph. And then I will also, in that same space in our Canvas shell, provide my own critique of how well this student implemented PIE. Okay, so there's a lot of good information here. Please do study it. Please do apply it when you write paper number 2. Make sure that your body paragraphs are well written for point, illustrate, and explain. And if you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you in the next video.